Hello, my friends. I'm going to try this one more time. I've been having a tricky time with technology today. So, my name is Jen Brookmans, if we haven't met, and I am a body awareness and wellness coach who helps highly sensitive women who struggle with the emotional fatigue and overwhelm that can come with being highly sensitive and being exposed to all the stimulus and busyness that comes with living our daily lives. And I help them to reconnect to their body and learn to kind of ground and feel more calm through meditation, mind-body connection, and self-care. So today I am here to talk about the topic of feeling versus reacting to emotion. And the reason that this is important, I think, because it will directly impact how we respond and react to our emotions, which will affect our daily life and how we connect to other people and live our lives, and how, our health in general. Because if we are constantly pushing things away and not dealing with them, that's going to impact our health. So I'm going to dive in. The first part I want to talk about is reacting. So reacting to emotion. I used to believe that reacting to emotion was the same thing as feeling an emotion. So what I mean is that I thought that if I were to fully feel my emotions, that meant reacting to them. So if I were to fully allow myself to feel anger, that would be connected, that would lead to an emotional outburst of anger. What I didn't realize is that situation of me reacting in anger was actually probably more due to the fact that I was pushing away my anger. So when reacting to emotion, this can show up in two different ways. So one is that we associate that emotion as bad or wrong. And this can come from numerous ways. Typically in our childhood, we'll see the people who we look up to, parents, caregivers, teachers, and how they deal with certain emotions. And if they're constantly trying to push away certain emotions, we learn that that's how we deal with them. The other way is that we were told that feeling a certain emotion was wrong. So maybe we reacted in anger and we were punished or told that was bad. So that's, we are conditioned to look at these things as bad or wrong. And in doing so, what happens is we eventually learn to ignore or push away that specific emotion. And the problem with that is when an emotion comes through our experience, it just wants to be felt. It's a type of energy. It comes through our body. It wants to be felt and just be felt in our experience. But when we push against it with resistance and we try not to feel it because it's uncomfortable, we are pushing against that emotion, and the emotion's trying to come up, we're trying to push down, and this extra energy and pressure kind of develops. And then what happens is at some point it's going to come into contact, or we'll experience a situation and that emotion will just come out in a very reactive way. So an example is we come home from work, we're talking to our partner, and they say something that normally wouldn't bother us at all, and we just fly off the handle. And of course, after that, we feel judgment and guilt and all of those other additional feelings. And after we kind of wonder, why did I have that kind of reaction? It just didn't seem to fit what was going on. And it's that pressure cooker thing, we're pushing it away and it's just trying to be felt. So that's one way of that it can show up in our experience. The second is sometimes we can form patterns I've noticed this myself, patterns around a certain emotion. So a certain person will say something or do something, and there's no thought process really, it's just a reaction. So an example of this might be driving in traffic, and it's busy traffic and someone cuts you off, and your instant reaction is to get angry and to yell and to swear. There's not really a thought process like, oh, that makes me angry. It's just action of being cut off and then the reaction of the emotion coming through. And I think we can develop these patterns in connection to certain situations where we don't really think about what we're experiencing. We just automatically react in a certain way. So those are the two ways that I've experienced where I react to emotion. And because of these reactions, then it'll also kind of amplify that feeling that the emotion is bad, right? Because we react and it feels so out of place, it feels so uncomfortable that now it's like, okay, it's reaffirming that emotion is bad. So then we create the same cycle of feeling the emotion or reacting to the emotion and it feeling bad and uncomfortable. So then we push it away and it pushes its way through and creates the same scenario. And so we go on like this little bit of a circle. So you might be wondering, what's the difference then to feeling emotion versus reacting to it? So it is possible to feel the emotion come up through our existence, and rather than to have a reaction to it, we just feel it without necessarily needing to react. So we interact with a person, experience a situation, notice that anger or sadness or whatever's coming through is in our experience, and then that's it. We just choose to, focus on the awareness on what we're feeling and not necessarily react. Now, we may, in letting ourselves just fully feel it, we may find that we want to have a conversation with somebody and say, this is how I'm feeling and why. Or we may find that it's just not necessary to say anything at all. And that's the difference between feeling it versus reacting. And it might not even lead to crying or anything like that. It's just feeling it and allowing it to be in our experience rather than trying to push it away. And so, how do we go about developing the change from point A of reacting to an emotion to point B of feeling the emotion? And my experience was I just started to bring awareness to my daily interactions with people and the situations that seem to elicit a certain experience or reaction or emotion. So for me, one of my challenging emotions is anger. So what I would do is I would try to bring awareness in my day and look at the situations where I was reactive and just noticing it first. That's the first, thing, just noticing it. Be like, okay, that's when I feel anger and when it seems to come out. And then when I would find myself in those situations, I would try to stay really present and be like, okay, I'm feeling angry right now, and that's okay, and just letting it be. I think that in my experience, when these really uncomfortable emotions come up, I would notice that judgment often would come up with it, judging myself for thinking certain things along with the emotion. And it was almost like I needed to be really compassionate and really loving towards myself. Because along with these uncomfortable emotions can come with a lot of other feelings and judgment, because we feel that it's not okay to feel them. And so I had to get not only present, but I had to allow myself to go through the process of feeling what I was feeling and making that okay. Because the judging of it was just pushing it back to not being okay. And so that's kind of what my stage was. I also used meditation and journaling, and that helped a lot in situations where I had days that were really challenging and a lot of reactions, and then I could bring presence to it later when I had more space to do so. So if a lot of these reactions were happening at work, where I couldn't really just sit and be like, okay, what happened, and kind of evaluate it and give that space, I would do so later, in a meditation, sitting and bringing it into my mind and kind of bringing that into my presence and noticing what came up, or journaling and just kind of trying to get it all out on paper. And I found that to be super, super helpful in the process of bringing that awareness. So yeah, I wonder if that helps. I am a little spacey today. So I did want to get that out there because I think it is very important. It's something that I know was holding me back from learning to be okay with my emotions. So I hope that helps you. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to send me a message or comment on this. And so I hope that helps. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Oh, you're so welcome. I'm glad, because I feel like I wasn't explaining it very well. So I'm glad that it helped. If you have any questions, just let me know.